couldn't face the thought, Julie, of leaving you alone with him right away. So it's why I've kind of come on to be a buffer here. I mean, look at him. Look at him. He's like left over from a Nirvana concert somewhere up by the lake. You know, going, Kurt, I miss you.
I'm more of an
I appreciate your concern.
You know what? I'm here for the beauty and the entertainment. Now you're here for the beauty and the entertainment, so I can go. Hi, gang. I'm actually about to edit the final episodes from Breakfast Anytime for next year that will air tomorrow night. So that's why I can't be on the show. And yet here I am monopolizing the first 3 minutes. What a surprise. Hi, Les.
Hey, how are you today?
Look, it's Julie.
Hello.
I know Julie's here.
Julie's here today. I was so sad that I can't do the show and ignore you and just talk to Julie.
I know. So should I just do my fishing report now so you don't have any time to talk?
Absolutely. You look good, Les. You look like a man who knows the inner workings of a fish.
I probably do.
You spit out coffee in that moment. I really was working for that.
Nothing phases me anymore with you.
See, Julie, this is how you have to go after him.
Well, see, now you just said nothing phases you. I think he's going to take that as a challenge.
I hope you do, because,
I may.
You're going to be alone with him, and this isn't 7 minutes in heaven like a junior high school here.
Hey, World Series winning pitcher and St. Louis Cardinals bat boy, Kevin Mitchell's with us. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, Kevin. Glad you're here.
Good morning.
See, you know what we should have done? We should have, I'm not be on the show. You come on, and Julie comes on, and then explains for the last 8 monts she's a Pete Spellis impersonator, and that he really died in a tragic plane crash outside of Guatemala, and she's been carrying the tradition of comedy on for everything. And by the way, Julie, if Carl comes on, we call him the hi Jordan. If Carl comes on, we call him the mayor, Mr. Mayor. So please, good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Jordan with a Y, good morning to you. I got my damn fine coffee.
Look at him. He's learning.
He's slow. That's why he wears the hat. I would say the slower children wear the hats, but then I'd get letters and things. And people would This is like being almost in the front row, Julie, isn't it?
Right? Wow.
Like a comedy show here.
This is insightful.
It's something.
Yeah,
that's
it's
for
something.
sure.
You can stick around for the post-game show. That's always the interesting thing.
Yeah, it would be very interesting to record all the pre-show stuff and the post-show stuff, and I don't know that we could ever air it. But
I think that would be needed for the that would be great filler for your After Dark show.
Oh, absolutely. My career's over, so you can't hurt me, son. Okay. Julie, how was your Christmas?
It was nice. It was quiet and calm, and just the way I like it, because it's not usually calm.
Are there many Rugrats in your house?
I have 2, and then I have the dog.
So you have 3, and if there's a husband, that makes it 5. So
Precisely, yeah. So I mean, it was as calm as 5 Rugrats will allow, but it was nice.
Do you dress up as Mama Christmas or something like that?
Only in your head.
No photos of me in my pajamas. So.
Oh, no. Well, those would go for a lot of money, I assure you.
Bless your heart.
I didn't say I'd pay for them. You understand? I'm obligated here.
Well, the fact that you're marketing for me.
Not to say I wouldn't do anything like that. Understand?
So yeah, Christmas was nice. We had my father-in-law came over for dinner.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good. I never know,
And and it was very nice. It was, like I said, it was calm, it was peaceful, it was quiet.
Did you get what you wanted? There's a question for you. Huh?
You know what? I didn't really have a big Christmas list, but I got a lot of things that I didn't know that I wanted.
Like what?
So, okay, so I have a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old. My 13-year-old has autism. And so sometimes he needs some guidance when he's thinking about things, but he really put his heart into what he got me for Christmas. And he bought me this like sectioned tote so that I could put my makeup and my crafts in it.
Wow.
And then he bought me an eye makeup palette, and his thought is that it had all the browns that I usually wear every day, but it also had some really bright colors that I could use for cosplay.
This kid is going to have a career in motion picture makeup. It sounds like it's fantastic.
Right? It was great. And then my favorite from Malcolm, my 13-year-old, was, and there's a long story behind it, but he bought me 2 packs of safety pins.
Well, you know what? Les likes long stories. He has.
Well, okay, so with his autism, he likes to take all of our old, like, our pop can box or our pop boxes and the pizza boxes, and he makes stuff out of them. And he likes to make himself armor. With that comes a great deal of duct tape and safety pins. So he's always stealing my safety pins, and so he bought me some safety pins to replace what he had taken.
Since I have an 11-year-old, I can tell you that Amazon boxes, there's one that they have that fits an 11-year-old head really well. And you can wrap it in aluminum foil and cut eye slits in it. And yeah. He's always making himself like chest plates and pauldrons out of the pizza boxes. And so, but he has to attach them to his clothes with all of my safety pins. So I'm always looking for safety pins. So he bought me my very own for Christmas.
Chest plate of a pizza box. He would slice. That would be his
right. And that's his next goal, is he wants to hit up, some places and get some LEDs and start expanding.
I thought you would say, now he has some plate on now, and he wants to hit up some winches. That's what he does next. Got to hit up the girls for a flag and a brew there, and So
yeah, it was nice. And then my 11-year-old, actually, he almost made me cry. So he bought me a really beautiful watch with a matching bracelet, and then he got me a necklace and earring set, and the necklace says "Best Mom."
Wow!
Oh, how sweet!
Wow.
So yeah, and then my husband bought me the camera that I'd been wanting for like 2 years, and then I did cry. So
in my neighborhood, we call that a haul. You did well there, miss.
Yeah.
Happy Christmas.
So what camera did you get?
Do what?
What camera did you get?
It's a Kodak. I used to have just one of those like $30 point and shoot type thing. And I don't know all of the specs and specifics, but I know that it connects to my phone, and I can like instantly download the photos into my phone.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's got a 52 times zoom option, and it takes video, and it's a really nice camera for me.
She said point and shoot.
Now it's early.
not in Kuala Lumpur, and we have many things.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It is 5 o'clock somewhere.
That's what our Australians said on Christmas morning.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. That was the worst Australian accent ever.
It sounded more Irish, maybe.
I don't know. What did you get for Christmas? Before I do the Lucky Charms Irish version.
Me? What did I get for Christmas?
Funny, I asked the same thing. See, he's old. He starts to repeat things. He doesn't listen, Julie. It's really tough.
Oh, we have our
what did you
morning
get for Christmas, Granddad?
I got some Star Wars miniature stuff. And
I told you, Julie. I told you. Damn
I got a Mandalorian t-shirt.
Mandalorian.
Huh?
I said, "What's a Mandalorian?" But I'm joking. I don't want to go down that hole.
Oh, the feedback from that question alone, I can see it already.
Yeah. But I had a really good Christmas. My wife got me a very thoughtful gift. And it was something evidently that she thought I needed way more than I ever thought I needed. And so she got me a tire gauge.
No, I guess not.
Say
again?
She got me a tire gauge to test the air pressure in my tires.
You know, this woman's a romantic. I knew that from the first time I met her. Just unbelievable. It's just that's something. Good morning.
Good morning, Mark.
Les's wife gave him a tire gauge.
Well, she's thinking of your safety. She doesn't want to, she doesn't want you to crash in the snow, and she's thinking of your safety.
I am so
my truck's new enough. It has that built into it. So I can just press a couple buttons and look at the tire pressure.
Hang on a second. Hello, what, Carl? No, I'm not allowed to speak in this conversation. Oh, okay. But I had a lot of, there was comedy. I could have said something. Okay. I'm sorry. I know
he's talking to his lawyers again.
Yeah.
Once in a while, he calls me. It's
Mark. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. I would have never figured that one out unless you would have told me.
Mark is see, I'm not allowed to say Mark. Is that a euphemism? Okay. Oh, good. Hold on. Oh, I said shit. Oh, that's twice.
The mayor's gonna be here. Oh, shame. So, Mr. Spellos, before you have to exit to go edit,
did you hear him open the door, Julie? That's what that was. That was please leave in Midwest.
That was his segue for you, yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I want to hear some of your New Year's Eve stories before you have to head out.
Again, that phone would be ringing the second I would start the story.
Do you have any that are like,
yes,
morning content?
Yes, I got to perform in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And by the way, that's when I found out that Fahrenheit and Celsius meet at 40 blank and below. Okay, you've never felt cold like 40 below. You walk outside and everything is fine, then you go, and then your nose hairs freeze. It is unbelievable. But we performed New Year's Eve. We performed 3 45-minute shows. Now, think of like Sack Theater at Disneyland, where they're in tights and fluffy shirts and hats and bring up the audience to do things. And we did 600 people a show for 45 minutes. Edmonton has a first night festival, which means for like $30, you can buy a ticket and go anywhere in the city all day long, and different museums, art displays, theater, music, dance, they're all doing shows that you just have to go. And it's a celebration. And we did that. And then after the New Year's, I got to work with Alberta's top improvisational people from Impro with Patty Stiles, who's the greatest improviser I ever met. My buddy Danny Hardigan and I wrote a spoof of the Iliad called The Silliad, where we did it at the University of Alberta. We had 20 in the cast, 30 people on stage with cue cards. We got audience members. We had cue cards ready for them. We gave out balloons at intermission. The entire audience fought as the Trojan War, banging each other with balloons. It was just a most rewarding and unbelievable New Year's Eve. Slept New Year's Eve in the theater. I didn't want to go back home to the party, so we slept on the floor in the green room. And as an actor, wow, I slept, in a dark. I woke up and it was a new year, and I was in the theater. So 1991, Edmonton, Alberta. I have pictures somewhere. It was the most fun New Year's that did not include perhaps bathing suits and the law. Is the only other way I could probably describe some of the things that occurred in the other things. But that's my best New Year's story. With terrific, I directed the show and co-wrote it, and was blessed with some of the most amazing improvisers. I mean, the top of the top in Edmonton and throughout Vancouver and Edmonton and Calgary. And great people. It's 40 below. It's 40 below. You don't, it's 40 below. It was, I looked like a couch with what I was wearing. That was the only way to describe it, and down and everything. But
yeah, I have some friends that have unloaded trucks up there for tours at 40 below, and they're just like, you have no idea, Les, how cold it is up there when, you know, they're doing it. And they're on like heated loading docks, but just, you know, trying to unload all the gear for a tour.
I'll tell you this, right before we left, and it was like -2 degrees, our coats were open because you acclimatize and you go, all right, this is nuts. And because it's so close to the Arctic Circle and it's the winter, the sun doesn't come up till like 9 o'clock in the morning, and then it sets about 4:30 in the afternoon. But the moon in the sky like a bigger pizza pie. That's Amore, you know that song? It is so huge in the sky. It looks like
a pizza pie.
Star Wars, you know, that huge planet
moon.
our solar system. Here's the one wish I have for you guys, because I'm going to leave here in a minute. For 2021. Let's all get healthy. Let's all get this shot, and let's all travel together again. Because I don't miss getting on planes, but I miss going places with people, you know, and having adventures. And I'm looking forward to exploring Indiana and the Midwest a little locally, you know. I've been a coast boy, and the time I wasn't on the coast, I was in England. So I hope we get all to travel together and get up to Fort Wayne. Howdy do that probably by that or Josh, one or the other. So that's my wish for everybody. I'm now going to exit. I know how tough that is, but I want Julie and Les to have a great show. Thanks for letting me come on, because Robert's always running late. I hope he hears this. Robert, you're always running.
I thought you had rules for your improv crew that you know, on time was.
Yeah, you know, so as George Orwell once wrote, some pigs are more equal than others. Do you know what I mean? He has all the tech stuff, so I could do an interpretive dance of what I want the thing to look like, but that's just not going to work. You know, that would be.
And nobody wants to see that.
Julie does. Don't say that. I know she does.
I'm pretty sure she doesn't.
You know what? Maybe Julie will tell us.
What am I telling you?
Yeah.
You see, she's not even listening to you.
Yes, no, it is. There's children. No. All right. Have a great show, guys. Happy New Year. Les and I will be back next Tuesday to talk about.
No, next Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday?
Yeah.
We're going back to nights?
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
I have to start working again.
You know what? That's not my problem.
I know. I'm not like.
I'm on a pension. I get Social Security. What the hell you were working? I don't care. You know?
I'm working so you can have Social Security and a pension.
You know what, brother? The people before me worked so I could have Social Security. You can tell that line of crap to me, because I know how Social Security works. And you know what? My hard ass work in movies is going to feed your pain in the ass son someday. Okay, when he's old. Bye,
We're
Mark.
glad you stopped in, Mark.
Bye, Mark.
Bye, Julie. Bye, everybody. I'll speak to you guys. Yeah. Happy New Year, Kevin. Happy New Year, everybody. Listen, remember this, please. Don't drink and drive, because you may spill the drink. Okay? I love everybody. I got to get out of here. In 3, 2, watch out for the right finger. 1.
Oh, goodness.
There we go. Oh, always enjoyable with Peter on this show. So, Julie, you had like some wild or crazy New Year's Eves?
A few, yeah.
A few.
Well, you know, a child of the 80s. I was a teenager in the 80s, so yeah, a few. I think one of my most memorable, though, and I don't even remember what year. It might have been 88, 89. Ozzy Osbourne was on tour with Anthrax and Lita Ford, and they hit Long Beach Arena on New Year's Eve. So yeah, that was kind of cool. And I don't know how I managed it, but I happened to get floor seats for that particular event. So that was pretty awesome.
That's kind of cool. So have you ever went like to like Times Square or New Orleans and been, on Bourbon Street for New Year's, or like any destination New Year's Eve?
I've done San Francisco. I've done Pier 39. They have in the Bay, they do a big fireworks celebration on New Year's. And Universal Walk, which is right outside of Universal Studios in California, they have a big countdown and big celebration, big party on New Year's. And I used to do that all the time. And then living just, an hour from Pasadena, we used to camp out and at the in Pasadena for the Rose Bowl parade.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, lots of.
So, let's talk about the Rose Bowl parade a little bit. Is that like really regimented, like where you can stand and that sort of stuff?
Yeah. They have at come daylight, they rope it all off so that there's nobody in the streets. At New Year's Eve, it's a giant party.
Oh, okay.
And there's little fire, people bring their firecrackers and their silly string, and I mean it's just crazy, or at least it used to be. It's been 20 years. But the day of, they rope it all off, they get the street all cleaned up. I volunteered for the Cal Poly float one year. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Like the amount of flowers and foliage and stuff, organic material that go into these floats is just, they make paste out of mustard seeds so that they can have yellow hair. And it's absolutely insane. And it's months in the making, these floats. And then they just tear them down the next day.
Yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Put all this work into it.
You see it all destroyed like that night, and you're like, I put so much work into that.
Were you able to take some of it home, like some of the flowers?
Oh yeah. You get to scavenge.
Cool. So my nearest experience is something like that. We did Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. What was that, 6 years ago, something like that. So that's where I was wondering, because it's very regimented where you can stand, where you can go, where you can be, when, that all that type of stuff. And
right.
If you leave, you can't come back, and all this sort of thing. So I was wondering if Pasadena was the similar, or if they were
yeah, it's smaller, and it's got a smaller town. I mean, it's Pasadena, and sure. It's whatever, but yeah, they close off like all of the major thoroughfares, so it's hard to get out. Once you're there, you're kind of locked into your spot. But yeah, if you were to leave, you probably wouldn't get back in. We never did, because they have most of the businesses are open until like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Just because it's a money grab.
Oh, sure.
And but they also have like the Porta Johns and all of that stuff. I mean, the whole city's in on it, so so there's not really any reason to leave. But people are drinking, so who knows what they're thinking.
So I was in Vegas for New Year's Eve one year.
Mm-hmm.
And they blew up a hotel that year when I was there. I didn't get to see it. I was sitting at a blackjack table. But that was probably my most memorable New Year's Eve. Was we drove from Phoenix to Vegas, met a friend of mine in Vegas, wound up losing her in the crowd because they shut down the entire strip, right? And
right.
Or this was 94 596, I think, maybe 96, 97, somewhere around there. And, we walked the entire strip and then turned, and it's like, oh, now we got to walk all the way back. And, we had a really good time. And the place we had to stay on the first was on the rim of the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
And we couldn't check in until, I don't know, like 3:00 or whatever normal check-in time is. And so we're driving across the desert at like 3 or 4 in the morning and make it to the Hoover Dam. And I'm just like, I can't drive anymore. I'm just exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in a rental car, and Carol wasn't old enough to be on the rental car at that point in time to be on the contract. So she couldn't drive. And so we just pulled over in the Hoover Dam parking lot and, took a nap there, slept in the Hoover Dam. The cops came by, knocked on the window. What are you all doing here?
If you could have made it like another 10, 15 minutes, you could have gotten a campsite at Lake Mead.
Oh, yeah. Well, and yeah, you're right. And what I know now is
we used to camp up there all the time when I was a kid. That's where I learned to water ski.
Oh, that's cool. That's one thing I can't do. Even growing up on the lake back here, right behind me, I can't water ski. There's some physics that doesn't work for my butt to get up on the water ski. I can ride a tube all day long and stand up on that, but I can't stand up on water skis. It's pretty hilarious.
My kids don't believe that I used to water ski. Because why would mom do something cool like that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, we were young once.
And, imagine my 13-year-old's face when I told him that I actually tried out and made the ski team at SeaWorld in San Diego.
Oh, that's cool.
So I got to water ski with dolphins.
Wow. I was not expecting a water skiing with dolphins story. Elaborate.
It's what when they used to do all, they don't do the shows anymore, with all of the animal activists and PETA and whatnot. But they used to have a ski team, and we would literally use dolphins as water skis.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
They would hold. You'd get two single handles, and on them, instead of attaching it to the boat, the dolphins would take the ends in their mouth, and we'd stand on dolphins and water ski.
Okay, that beats all my water skiing stories, and hands down. And I have some fairly decent ones, but none that are going to top.
I did it for a summer, and then I blew out my knee. So. Oh.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to tell you how much easier it would be to fall on water than concrete, I'll tell you, no, water's just as hard as concrete.
It hurts when you're going fast.
Yeah, I actually was behind my dad's boat, and I was doing a slalom course, and I hit a patch of glass water, and my ski fishtailed, and I crashed hard and shattered my kneecap.
Ouch.
Yeah, had to get airlifted out of the lake, and I was in the hospital for about 7 weeks, and then had to learn how to walk again.
Oh, wow.
And that was the end of my skiing. That was the end of water skiing for me. So
when I tackled my wife playing football and broke her ankle in 5 places, that ended her skiing career as well. Kind of. Yeah,
it doesn't take much to end like you can rip a tendon or break a bone and go back and play football, but it's you need that strength in your knees and your ankles to water ski. One injury and it'll do you in.
Yeah. So what do you have planned for this New Year's Eve?
My husband is off work for the first time in like forever. So I actually get to spend it with my husband this year.
Oh,
So I think it's just going to be me and the kids. We're not going to have anybody over. We're just going to kind of silently tiptoe into 21. Don't look at anything. Don't touch anything. Don't make any noise. We're just going to behave.
Yeah, it's funny because I think we're kind of almost very similar ages where, you know, we've done the whole let's go party for New Year's Eve, and now we have kids. And like last year was our first year of being the parents that hosted the New Year's Eve party for all the kids to come over and eat pizza and drink soda and all the stuff until they're crazy and light some fireworks off and that type of thing. But this year we're not going to do that. I did think of an idea. I got a cookbook at the beginning of the pandemic, and it's got all these kind of cool drinks in it. So I was thinking about making some of this stuff up because most of them are kid friendly. So
right.
You know, that's, and then there's some alcoholic ones in there too. Like the spice brew. That one's pretty good. I've made that one already, and I would recommend that. So Martin Jones, the Lothal Spice Brew.
Okay.
Is what it's called. And basically it's based around a stout and some cream and some nutmeg and some other spices.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so it's pretty tasty. You mix it all up, pour it over some ice, you know. So might be what we do. I'm not really sure. My wife's on call, so being a nurse, sometimes you don't get to enjoy, you know, some of those New Year's Eve festivities. So, you know, and she worked night shifts for 10 years, something like that. And so when she would, you know, half my New Year's Eve during that time were gone because she was working. So sometimes we went to the bars with friends and that sort of thing. So Martin says he's just watching the ball drop. Yeah, if you guys have any drink ideas, what you guys like to drink on New Year's Eve or some of your stories, feel free to share them. I think Kevin Mitchell had a story that his brother got really wasted and made him a bet, $800 bet. Right? I was like, that's a really great story. And so his brother,
he's a nice brother though. He didn't like cash the check and spend it. See, I'm that sister that would have.
Well, I would have wanted like at least $100 of it. Like you got to learn your lesson.
I mean, I'd have figured out a way to cash it and whatnot. I mean, I'd have given him most of it back, but I'd have taught him, don't bet when you're drunk. That's why Vegas is the way it is.
The alcohol always wins.
That's why they give you the free alcohol in Vegas when you're at a table or at a slot machine.
Most definitely. I'm just thinking back to my New Year's Eve in Vegas. And
my ex-husband didn't believe me when I told him, don't let them liquor you up because they will. They'll feed you until you're done.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He lost his tail on it. And I was like, I told you, stop. You know, they will give you like Coke and Sprite water, too.
Yeah. That's no fun.
He couldn't understand why he kept losing and I kept coming out, you know, with extra money. And I was like, because I'm not drinking. It took him 3 days to find out about his check.
Oh, wow.
That's hilarious.
That it must have been a really good party then, Gavin, if it took him 3 days to
remember
it. I've had one. I've had, yeah. So it wasn't Twisted Teas. It was back in the, I don't know, mid 90s, early to mid 90s when Smirnoff first started doing flavored vodka.
Oh, the ices.
Well, no, it was just flavored vodka. But I've had some New Year's Eve with the ices too.
So then you remember Zima.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember Zima. I do. Every generation has to go through it. And everybody that's drinking White Claw right now, everybody, they're going to be like, yeah.
Oh, you remember those.
I drank those. That was stupid.
And the Boonesville. Yeah.
Oh.
Boone's Farm wine.
I did drink that.
You didn't? Well, most of our, like, okay, so way back in the day, like we had the liquor stores and they didn't realize that the owner of this one didn't realize that it was alcoholic. He thought it was just like Kool-Aid in a bottle.
Well, it kind of is.
Well, yeah. And so he never carded any of us.
That's always fun.
And we were like, oh, yeah, it's just like it's like the sparkling apple cider without the sparkle. It's just juice. And
juice.
It was so bad. And it was like $2 a bottle.
Yeah. You pick the grape peels out of your teeth when you're done drinking it. You know, it's high quality wine.
And, and like we all used our leftover lunch money from the week, and
oh my goodness, you shouldn't do this, kids.
Purple Passion.
Purple Passion.
Oh.
I vaguely remember that. I was never a Purple Passion person, but I know it showed up at our apartment when we was in college a couple of times, and no, thank you. When your alcohol comes in a 2-liter bottle, similar to Sprite, it's probably not a good idea. Oh.
That's hilarious.
It is hilarious. It is hilarious. How did we get talking about all this bad alcohol? There's so much better alcohol than. Oh, it was the flavored vodka, right?
Yeah.
It was Smirnoff first came out with that, and they had this citrus flavor, and that was a rough New Year's Eve. Rough New Year's Day, I should say.
Yeah.
A whole fifth of that was don't do that, kids. Drinking an entire fifth is never a good.
No.
It was fun that night.
That's funny.
Yeah, my buddy who hosted that party, his dad. Mom and Dad knew we were having a party that night, and they came back the next day. He's like, "Well, you guys ready to start drinking and watching some football that afternoon, New Year's Day?" I'm like,
no.
He goes, "Yeah, we're gonna drink margaritas." He had this fancy margarita mix that he liked to, or fancy recipe that he used, and so like, oh no, Ted, I'm tapping out, man. I can't do it. Oh. And I think we broke the frame of a window that night. I didn't, but somebody broke the window frame, which, it's pretty difficult to do. But
yeah, those are kind of reinforced and
yeah, it was
solid.
Yeah, it was the last party we had at that house. But tonight, or this time around, I think, obviously I've calmed down a little bit. We don't do that anymore. So what are you looking forward to in the new year? You got any? I know it's kind of hard to plan anything.
Yeah.
or New Year's resolutions. Let's go with that.
I'm pushing myself to go outside of my comfort zone.
Okay.
You know, I'm a creature of habit, and I like what's comfortable, but I know that I tend to linger there if I'm allowed. So this year, I'm going to push myself to do some things that I've wanted to do, but never really had the guts or the confidence to do. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. So, like, I have a photo shoot scheduled for the end of January, and it's a boudoir shot. Shoot.
Okay.
And I've been wanting to do one for a couple of years now. Give me 1 second.
Sure, no problem.
That's all I had to say. Things calm down again.
Totally understand how that works. It's like, just give me, okay, we're good. Yeah.
And everybody went, oh crap, Mom. So yeah, I've finally, it's been a mix between my own confidence and self-esteem, you know, trying to push myself to actually do it, and then finding the right person.
Oh, sure.
You know, and you know, I've had several, you know, different photographer friends say, hey, we should do this, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, doing something like that, you definitely had to be very comfortable with the photographer that you're working with.
And like, I had one photographer who really wanted to do it, and they've done some cosplay shoots for me, and they turned out all right. I mean, they weren't like I wasn't like overjoyed and like, oh, blown away by them. I mean, they were good. Yeah. And so, you know, that was my first, like, I don't know if I want to do that kind of shoot. You know, if I do this shoot, I really want to be blown away by it. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to see my photo shoot how I see myself. I want to see somebody else's interpretation of what I look like.
Oh, definitely.
and but they were like, oh, I just, you know, they're trying to build their studio in their basement, which, you know, is fine. But they bought a claw-footed bathtub from a junkyard.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not getting in a junkyard bathtub in your basement to take photos.
And that's the last we heard of Julie. She went to the photographer's basement.
Exactly what I told them. I said,
bathtub full of ice.
I feel like that's like the beginning of a really bad movie.
Or a really good movie, whichever.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm not above like waking up. I'm not all about waking up with one less kidney. Exactly. So yeah, that shoot didn't happen. And so I finally found this guy, and he's actually on one of the cosplay sites here on Facebook for Indiana. He just moved to town.
Oh, the dog knows it too.
He's got opinions, you know.
Yeah.
And but we just clicked. We went and had lunch. We met, and we just clicked. And I was like, you know what? This is somebody that I think I could do this shoot with. So I'm going to start just pushing myself. That's my New Year's resolution, to step outside my comfort zone a little bit more than I have.
Well, that's cool. Cool. I was kind of forced out of my comfort zone with COVID and stuff. So, but I'm glad I am, but because it's changed things, and for the better, I think.
Right.
You know, in the long run, it'll be for the best. It's just readjusting to, you know, the current situation, but pushing different aspects is, you know, something that I wouldn't do unless I was forced to do. So you doing it voluntarily, kudos on you. I know it's difficult to do that. I haven't really. I've thought about like one resolution that I want to try to do, and I've attempted it before. And it's logging all my Facebook memories, right? And so every day, you know, you get your memory feed, it pops up. but like logging all those. And so at the end of the year, you have 15 years of your life, you know, or my, you know, world, it's 15 years of being on Facebook with all the stupid stuff but all the meaningful stuff as well. So I think I'm going to try that again. So that's one thing, but and of course painting the miniatures is something that I'm going to continue to push.
Right. That's awesome.
Thank you. And I'm hoping I'm hoping that all the vaccine stuff works, and you know we'll be able to do PopCon.
Yeah,
that's what my big hope is to see everybody, or a lot of people in person. That's something that I've missed, is just being able to hang out with.
Oh yeah,
all my PopCon family, which is, you know, we've done a little bit here and there with virtual PopCon, and it's you know, some things at people's houses, but miss my people.
Not the same though. Yeah,
it's definitely different. It's definitely weird, but we're move on type of deal.
Yeah.
So does anybody, if anybody listening has, you know, what they're planning on doing for the new year, then want to share, I'm glad to listen to that, or any other fun New Year's Eve stories or New Year's drinks. What's your go-to when you were going out on New Year's? What were you normally drinking? Drink a choice.
I did a lot of cranberry vodka. But then I found, and I don't know what's in it, one of our local bars here does, I think she called it like a Frosty the Snowman. It was delicious, and it was like a frosty white drink. I'll have to go down to the sports bar and go, hey, what's that drink and what's in it again? I don't want to recreate it. I just want to talk about it online. But now I have found that I really like coconut rum and pineapple juice.
Oh, right.
Or pineapple mango juice, something tropical. I really like the coconut rum. And I actually found one, what's it, a Curzon?
Okay.
They have a really good coconut rum. My husband, this is like his trial by fire. If you drink this, he'll be your friend forever.
Okay.
It's called a cement mixer.
Oh, I know what a cement mixer is.
Okay, yeah. So like everybody that I have ever introduced to him, I don't talk to very many of these people anymore, and I'm pretty sure that it's because of the cement mixer. They're like, you introduced me to this guy, and he made my mouth feel funny, and that's just not right, and we can't be friends anymore. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It wasn't my idea, I promise.
Peter's gonna get back on here and talk about that mouth making fun, or making
made my mouth weird. Like, we made my mom do one.
Oh my goodness!
At our wedding, and she didn't talk to me for like 4 weeks. And now she won't let my husband make her any drinks.
Well, and she shouldn't, right? It's like, oh,
and it's been 20 years. I mean, we just celebrate. I mean, we've been together for 20 years, and we've been married for 15, and she still has not forgiven him for that. Like, she's like cool with everything else, but don't let her make me a drink.
Yeah, I would, that's the shot you buy to make somebody, at the end of the night when you want to put them over the edge and see them in the alley. That's what you do, right? It's not a nice shot to give somebody.
That's the shot that you do just so that you have the experience and the ability to say, yeah, I've done that.
Or not do that. And because it's how the chemistry works, right? It's like,
yeah,
don't do kids, if you're listening, if somebody offers you a cement mixer shot, just pass. It's a hard no. Just say thanks.
Walk away.
Yeah, just walk away. Yeah. Exactly.
You don't even have to say no. Just turn around and walk away. It's the safest bet. Because if they're willing to buy you the cement mixer, then they're going to try and talk you into it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So Kevin's staying at home. It looks like. It looks like Martin Jones is gonna. Or this is what you used to do, I guess. Yeah, we watched a lot of Dick Clark when we were growing up as kids.
That was it. That was the thing to do.
Exactly. We rotated, like when I was a young kid, we rotated between 3 or 4 different families would host, and every year we would move around. And it was always great when you were going over to the Welch's because they had an air hockey table and a ping pong table and more games for the Atari than you did and all this stuff.
The Atari. Oh my God.
Yes, I'm dating myself just a little bit, but you understand.
That was my first console.
Mine too, 2600.
The 2600. With the tank game. Do you remember I don't even remember what it's called now. Combat. I know there were tanks. Yeah. The tanks, and then there was we had the Raiders of the Lost Ark game, and I had Superman.
I vaguely remember Raiders of the Lost Ark. We had the game that destroyed Atari, which was E.T.
I had that one. Oh gosh.
Come on. But we all let's see. We played a lot of video pinball. River Raid was one of my favorite games. Pitfall. We had
we had Pitfall. Donkey Kong. And Kaboom.
River Raid was probably my favorite. We had it was like it's like Breakout, but it was called Warlords, I think. And you had everybody on the corner, and you're trying, and it used the paddles.
Yeah. And all of the 20-somethings are like, what are paddles?
Yeah. But everybody else, like Martin, knows what a paddle is. Kevin Mitchell knows what a paddle. Our listeners know what a paddle. Jordan with a Y might not know what a paddle is.
What were the paddles?
So the paddle was this controller that it basically was almost like a trackball, but it was only a circle instead of being a sphere. So you controlled it by moving the circle back and forth.
Yeah.
And then it had one button how you could fire it, right? I think.
Yep. You had the button for your thumb.
Yeah.
So you held it.
And they had 2 paddles. So the Atari 2600 only had 2 controller ports, but the paddles, somehow they had wired it up so 2 of them plugged into one port, and so you could actually for people. But you couldn't do that with the joysticks for whatever reason. So the days of 2600, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to be talking about that today. But.
No.
We got $1 million. This had $1 million.
Do you still have your 2600?
I do. It's in my father-in-law's attic.
Okay.
But I do. I still have that, and a lot of the cartridges that went with it. Like, yeah. I snuck it out of my dad's house when he got married. And was like, yeah, some of the stuff needs to come home with me because, we may never see it again. And so that was one of the things that me and my sister grabbed.
I don't know if I still have mine. I'm pretty sure I have cartridges. I don't know if I still have the console or not because, in a household of 2 boys, things kind of get abused a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I don't know that I still have a working 2600. Working NES though, the original box NES.
Yeah.
I still have that, and I still have the Zelda with the gold cartridge Zelda that first came out.
My sister had the NES, and she had her favorite, and I don't know, I don't understand it. Her favorite was the track game, the track and field game.
Really?
Where you plugged in the mat and you actually had to run in place.
I did not have the mat.
Oh God. My sister almost died because of that game, because I almost choked her.
I thought that was going to go. She fell and tripped and hit her head on the coffee table.
Like, we would go through this stuff, and we, oh, come on. And she's 5 years younger than I am, so she was, come on, Julie, come on, let's race. And I had to entertain her.
Oh,
so
sure.
we would do that, but then it would come up to like the hurdles, and you actually have to jump. Like, you couldn't just like slow step over the hurdle. You actually had to, like, it was crazy. And neither her or I could ever get past that part of the race. And so there were a few backhanded moments where, she went flying across the living. I'm like, I'm not playing this stupid game with you. Give me something with a gun. I need a gun, or I need, a sword, some mana potions. You give me something that I can relate to. I'm not about running. I never have been.
Well,
if I'm running, you should probably start running too, because something's chasing me. I'm just gonna put that out there right now.
Sure. Well, and it's not like the Wii where you can fake it and sit down and do it, right? This was a mat that you had to like actually stand on.
Yeah. Yeah, it had the sensor pads in the feet, in there, and it was terrible. And so I don't know if the technology was there, or if I just didn't know how to jump a hurdle. But like, if you tried to fake it, it was like, no, you didn't jump hard enough. You didn't jump. So then your character on the screen falls down.
which what I would do, like, in the living room if I had one of those.
Like, they trip over and knock over the hurdles on the screen, and then they're down, and then it takes them like 30 seconds to get up. So you just standing there yelling at the TV.
And I wasn't sure. Was that something like if you like tapped it faster, would they get up faster?
No, they just made you wait.
Oh man.
And so, and that's where, the gamer rage
started.
Developed. That's where I'm convinced that, Nintendo Track and Field was the catalyst of today's gamer rage.
See, I would go with Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo.
That one too. Yeah.
I picked up my gamer rage because we had that set up in my bedroom, and my brother and I, so we were on this 13-inch TV because that's what we had. And we're sitting there battling, and you just like, I can't get this special move to work, and he would win and he would win and he would, and finally you just reach over and you actually slug him. And then it breaks out into fisticuffs. Oh,
yes.
He'd reach over and give you a Charlie horse because you're just kicking his butt with Chun-Li. Oh my goodness.
So I played that when my husband and I first met. We were playing that, and I grabbed Chun-Li, and he told me that was cheating. I was not allowed to have her anymore because he couldn't win against her.
Really?
But he's like the consummate gentleman, so he always let me pick first.
Oh, sure.
And and of course, he couldn't win, so he was, so he used every excuse in the book. Well, you always pick her because I can't win against her, and that's cheating. And I'm like, well, then, I don't know, pick somebody else. Or I don't know, don't play this against me because I'm competitive and I play to kill. I don't play to win.
Who was he trying to use to beat you with Chun-Li?
Huh?
And did he play anybody specifically?
I couldn't tell you anymore.
Okay.
I think he went through the gamut at one point, and I'm not one of those strategic fighter players. Like I like the RPGs and whatnot. And so if I get into one of those where it's like player versus player, I'm a button masher.
Okay.
I don't know all the special codes for the special attacks. I find something that works and I mash the button. And he was like trying to like strategically get through the leg of fire that happens. And he was like, I can't beat that. And I'm like, I just mash. That's all you have to do. I just mash. Yep. That's my strategy.
But like using Ken or Ryu, they should be able to like throw their thing at you. They're fire.
You would think. My theory is that, like I said, he's the consummate gentleman, so he let me win.
Oh,
I think that's it. And so now we don't PvP against each other because it ends up in a fight in the living room. So it's this crazy like little neurosis that I have. Like I'm super competitive and I know this about me. So I don't PvP anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Because I get mad. I get really angry. And I know this about myself. And I keep trying to convince my children, if you're not having fun and you're yelling at the video game, you should probably step away. So I have to do that myself, right? So my personal rule is I don't PvP against people I like.
Okay.
It'll end a friendship. And so my problem though is that if I do end up getting into some kind of a PvP match, I am super competitive and I get really angry if I lose. Mm-hmm. I'm not a gracious loser. However, I'm not a gracious winner either. And then I question your motive. Did you let me win because you didn't want me to get mad at you? It's not that I want to brag. I don't believe that I actually won.
Wow.
So we just avoid PvP.
So are you a board gamer then that flips the table over when you lose?
So anyway, New Year's Eve.
I'll take that as a yes.
Yeah, I'm a table flipper. There's a reason we don't own Monopoly.
Oh, well, who would? You don't want to play Monopoly anyway. There's so much better games to play.
Monopoly and of all the Uno, I can't stand Uno.
Oh.
I'm getting side eye from my 11-year-old right now.
My 11-year-old likes to play Uno too.
That's his favorite game. And he's, Mom, play Uno with me. And I'm like, not if you want to continue living in this house, you don't.
Do they try to make up some like house rules? Like draw twos mount up over time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm like, no, you should probably just, I don't know, 52 card pick up that crap. I mean, if you want to continue having the best mom ever, you should probably not own that game.
Oh, well, it's been fun talking with you, Julie. Do you have any final thoughts for the show?
Final thoughts. Oh God, this is Peter's thing.
Well, he's not here, so one of us has to do
I know. So yeah. So what did he say that I'm a Peter impersonator?
Yeah. You've been dressing up like Peter Spellos for the last 9 months. Coming on.
Let me see if I can absorb this for a minute. Final thoughts, and this is the last show of the year, right?
It is the last show of the year. Yeah, next year we'll be going only on YouTube, and we will be on Wednesday again.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Don't feed the monster. I feel like nothing we can say at this point won't get turned. Yeah, it's just gonna turn 7 shades of wrong.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm
So
sure he would say something like, call somebody that you normally would hang out with on New Year's Eve. Have a good eggnog.
Yeah. So my final thoughts: just be kind to one another.
Yeah.
Just be kind to one another. I've taken on. There's this journey that I'm going on, and there's some healing from childhood stuff that's happening, and I'm learning that I'm not who I thought I was for a number of years.
Yeah.
You grow up and you believe that you are who your parents say that you are.
Sure.
And I'm learning that that's not necessarily true. And so in this journey, I have discovered that I'm not about being nice. And that's not to say that I'm all about being horrible, but nice tends to be a little passive.
Yeah.
And kindness takes thought. You can be kind, and kind doesn't always look nice. And so that's my rule in my house with my boys. I don't care what you do. I don't care what argument you have to be kind about it.
That's good. Peter would say nice isn't funny. Nice.
And no, nice isn't funny. Like I said, I feel like nice is kind of passive. Like not, we grew up in that generation. I'm sure you heard it. The rule that I always be nice to your sister. Be nice to your brother, be nice to your friend. And that meant roll over and let them have their way. And, that kind of thing. I don't want to share this particular toy today. Well, be nice and share. No, I don't want to be nice. I'll be kind and tell them they can have it next time. How's that? And so that's the rule in my house. You don't always have to be nice, but you do have to be kind. So,
that's a good rule to live by.
So that's my final thought. Coming into the new year, practice being kind to other people.
And I think that's a solid final thought. I really do. I like that. I think we have lost a little bit of that as a society. Being kind to people. And we're all automatically combative no matter what we're talking about, be it Wonder Woman, before or Star Wars or whatever. It's just like they're damn movies. It doesn't really matter.
I know. I watched some of the comment threads, and I need to stop doing that. That's got to be my self-care, is to not watch comment threads.
Yeah,
but I'm everybody argues over like the movies and music and cosplay or whatever, and all I can think of is it's art. It's subjective. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's garbage.
Right. Somebody does. People do. And that's okay.
Absolutely.
And I'm with Martin on this one. Definitely. Bill
Absolutely.
My final thoughts is, and this I was looking through my Pinterest feed last night at about midnight, and one of my friends who does a lot of photography posted like 9 pictures of why 2020 wasn't necessarily bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not all bad. There were good parts in there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And so, you go through your timeline of photos and you're going, yeah, there were some good, it sucked. I'm not going to lie, but there were some good things about it too. And if you only focus on the things that sucked, that's all you're going to get, And
right. That's what you'll take away from it.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Coming into 2020 was rough for my family. We had some stuff happening. And we realized, early on when schools shut down, that it's, as adults, we were struggling, with the isolation and all of that. And then when my 11-year-old, he was 10 at the time, we were in the grocery store, masked up and socially distancing and doing everything that we needed to do. And he asked a question that made me realize that these kids are listening and they're taking in everything around them, and they're not as oblivious as we like to think they are,
especially at 10 or 11.
Yeah. And he hadn't seen his grandfather since Christmas, and we were going on March. And Grandpa lives 10 minutes away. And he asked me if Grandpa was sick. And I said, no, Grandpa's not sick. Why would you ask? Why would you think that? Well, I haven't seen him. And I thought he was dying. And then he broke down in the middle of Kroger and just bawled. And I realized at that moment, these kids are struggling, and it can't possibly just be mine.
Right.
They're isolated from school. They can't see their friends. They can't see extended family. These kids are struggling. They're really struggling through this. And I ended up getting together with the mayor of New Haven here, and we put together a parade for our city. And so we had cosplayers, and we had the fire department, the police department, the parks department, all sorts of, all walks of life. And the parade itself was probably a mile long, and then we just went through the entire city of New Haven just to give the kids something to smile about.
I can definitly be on board with that.
And it started because my 10-year-old fell apart in Kroger, and what it started out as was, I just thought, what if I dress up as I have a Snow White. What if I dress up as Snow White and I sit in the back of our truck on the tailgate and just blast Disney music and just wave at the kids as we drive by.
Sure.
And I messaged our mayor and said, I figure you would know, you're the mayor. If I do this, am I going to get a ticket?
He's like, well, I don't know. But
and he was like, if you do what? And I said, I want to dress up like Snow White, sit on our tailgate and drive through the city and wave at people. Just give somebody something, maybe one person will smile. And he was like, we need to expand on that. And the next thing I know, we have what was it? Probably a dozen fire trucks and EMS vehicles, half the police department. They were closing roads. They waived the fees to put on a parade through the city. They waived all the fees for this. And we had Miss New Haven and Miss Three Rivers joining us. And I was like, I really just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get a ticket for riding on the street on the tailgate.
I didn't want to be the grand marshal.
I didn't need for it to be this big. I just wanted to wave at some kids and not get ticketed for it. But but I saw that happen all across in small towns. We see on the news feeds and on Facebook, people posting pictures of small groups that would get together and just do something for their city. So definitely it wasn't all crap.
Yeah.
I really do feel like, for the most part, humanity came together, at least in the beginning, and, took care of each other.
Yeah. We did a parade for the nursing home in the small town that I live close to, where my grandma was at and my cousins work at. And what I thought was going to be, we're going to have, a car for every resident that's in the nursing home, or maybe two. So, is it going to be, and it's in the middle of the day. And so people, some people were still working, and that I was like, okay, so this is going to be like 20 cars, something
Right.
like that. There wound up being 100 cars. We filled up the school parking lot.
Wow.
And the police were in there, the fire department, the ambulance service, and it was just like, wow, this was a lot bigger than, and all the residents, were able, and we did it around Easter, I think, if I remember right, because I know it was so chilly, because they weren't going to be able to have normal Easter stuff at the nursing home that they would normally do. So
right, yeah. I saw, there was a lot of really awesome things. Like in my community, our schools kept the kids fed. They shut the schools down early before summer break. And they were, our school district here in New Haven, they were worried about their kids eating. And so you go like once a week and you pick up a week's worth, they'd have a week's worth of lunches for all the kids in their district. And, they weren't gourmet. I mean, there was a lot of salad and a lot of fruit. And so there was a lot of eye rolling and grumbles in my house because apparently you don't eat anything that grows out of the ground. Ew, that was out of the ground. It's dirty. You don't eat it. And I'm like, really? Unless it's deep fried. Then it's okay.
Then it's okay. Yeah. And dipped in ranch dressing, of course.
They sanitize it in hot oil, and then they put the ranch elixir on it, and it's good. It's good to go.
It's a magic sauce.
But they did. They made sure that they had like the individual bowls of cereal. They had cartons of milk, cartons of juice. Our little city, and New Haven's not huge. We're right outside of Fort Wayne. Our little city really came together to take care of their people. There was a small parade through one edition, and then we did the big parade, and that went through like 10 different editions. And then we did a 4th of July parade with the city. There was a lot of good that came out of all of the bad. Not to say that the bad wasn't super bad. But
because it has been. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay that it hasn't been bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the mental health aspect of this year, I think, took the biggest hit. I mean, there's been, so many issues between, different addiction issues, and, they can't get the help that they need. And then, depression sets in, and like my 11-year-old has super bad anxiety. And that just kicked his butt this year.
And rightfully so, right? I mean,
but then you see these people that come together to try and combat all of that, and that gave me hope for humanity.
Yeah, I definitely feel that, like, because Leaf brought COVID home from school. And so we've been quarantining for pretty much all of December, because it was after the first week. And, the number of people that were like, hey, do you need anything? Can I go get something, run to the store for you and pick stuff up? And, we live in a small community, so that sometimes, that's not uncommon.
Right.
But, people just dropping some food off by the door, or showing up with a blizzard because you can't go to Dairy Queen. It's just, like, oh, thank you very much. It brightens your day. And, while I've kind of gotten used to being at home all day for multiple days over shutdown, because everybody was working from home. My wife, who's a nurse, has it, and she doesn't like the cold weather. And so she's just like, the house is, like spotlessly clean now. I'm like going, aren't you glad you could go to work unlike some of the other people? Because, she's just like, I could tell is like starting to get on her nerves that like
Mhm.
you're constantly around all these people all the time and you can't do anything.
And that was
So-
one of the things that we noticed. It was like, we have a little small house, and so
Mhm.
there's not a whole lot of personal space going on. And it was like, oh, you're still here.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that Peter and I started this show was like you needed some contact with people, because he was in the apartment in New York, and this kind of gave me a way to talk to somebody that wasn't in my little bubble, and
Right.
we picked up a crowd of people that for whatever reason want to tune in and listen to us ramble on and on.
And I think for the same reason, it was just contact with somebody who wasn't in their face all the time. And then, not that we don't love our families, but, close contact, quarantining, and being stuck inside for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's like, I love you, but I need to love you from far away for a while. And I see that, and I've been saying that for 20 years because my mom keeps asking when I'm moving back to California, and I'm like, you realize there's a reason I live 2,600 miles away from you. I love you far away. But this is I've got it's me, my husband, our two boys, and then we have the dog who could probably take up enough energy to be another 4 or 5 people. And that's a lot of energy in our little house. And so I know that I tuned in just because I adore both of you anyway, but
thank you.
It was some joy, there was some joy, there was some laughter there, and there was some escape. We didn't have to think about masking up and going to the grocery store and dealing with all of that nonsense. And I think I think this right here, what we're doing today and what you guys have been doing for months, I think it's been great. And I think it's been some definite mental health help for a lot of people.
Well, thank you. And Kevin's chiming in. Well, I'm glad we can entertain, and that's what Peter would say. It's like I don't consider myself an entertainer by any stretch of the imagination, but he does, and it really does his soul good to see this type of thing, Kevin. So I'm glad that we could help.
I think the laughter, the silly conversations that you guys have, and then the interaction with, the commenters and whatnot. I think just the ability to laugh at something silly, that's not, it doesn't have any bearing on the rest of the world at this point. It's just humor. But I think that's enough to just keep people pressing on for another day. And sometimes that's all we can do is just take it, minute by minute if we have to.
Well, and it's kind of grown too. George and Audrey, who are in charge of the film festival for PopCon, they were doing a podcast announcing that, the pre, how did they say it? The registration had a discounted fee, and that was ending, and so they were hyping that up, and they called Carl the mayor because they listened to our show. I'm like going, oh, our plan is working.
I don't know, Brain. What do you want to do tonight?
We'll take over the world. Oh my goodness.
Awesome. I think it's great. you don't have to have a huge following, but the impact that you have on those that do listen are going to impact people that they interact with. And I think that's just a great thing.
Well, and I've had people reach out to me and go, hey, I can't tune in when you guys are actually on, but I listen to this show, on my drive home or something like that. So it's just because I only see like 3 people watching now, I know that there's other people that are going to tune in this evening or in the next few days and watch. So
absolutely, yeah.
And then next week we will be doing this on Wednesday afternoon at 4:30. We'll go back to our drive time show because I have to go back to work. My holiday vacation is over, so we'll have to listen to Peter complain about how he has to, we keep him up until 6 o'clock in the evening, and he can't make the senior dinner at Denny's or wherever he's the Lincoln Square Pancake House to get a senior discount. So until next time, folks, we'll see you next week. Thank you, Julie. It's been great to have you on. We're glad you can make it, and we will talk to everybody later.